Good morning. My name is Scott Young from Optrics Engineering, and along with me, of course, I have Sean Sturby, our Technical Services Manager, and this is another edition of the Optrics Insider. So we have three topics this week. The first one is a Canadian mall was collecting biometric information of the people who went through it without their knowledge. Second, an AI camera mistakes bald head for a soccer ball. And finally, a tech support scammer calls the cyber police squad. I'm assuming that is by accident. So
Yes.
let's begin. So let's talk about the Canadian mall that was collecting biometric information without people's knowledge.
Yeah, so it's called the Cadillac Fairview Corporation Limited. They run a number of malls across Canada, and they have been under investigation now by the Canadian Privacy Organization because they had digital cameras in the kiosk, so that when you go into the mall and it's, well, where is store X, and you go up to that display and you do the search, they were buried in there. And so it was 2 malls in Alberta, 2 in BC, 1 in Manitoba, 5 in Ontario, and 2 in Quebec had cameras that were catching, taking a look at the people that were standing in front of the kiosk. And they called it anonymous video analytics. But however, they did manage to capture and retain the images of 5 million shoppers.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so did it say what kind of biometrics? I'm assuming biometrics of the face.
Correct. Yes. The size, shape, color, the spacing between the various different features on the face, so that they could see that same representation at another time and know it was the same person.
Interesting. And now I believe that, well, people most likely didn't know, but from what I understand, they're saying, well, they did because we had a very tiny sticker that said you were going to be scanned.
Yeah, so the privacy commissioners went in and actually went to the mall's customer service and said, there's a sticker on the door. What does that mean? And the people at customer relations didn't know. So if the people inside don't know what it means, how are they going to explain it to the average shopper?
Right. Well, yeah, you never know why they're doing that and who they're sharing that information with, but interesting. That's thanks for bringing that up. Let's talk about AI, the AI camera that mistakes bald head for a soccer ball.
Yeah, so the Scottish football team, the Inverness Caledonian Thistle FC, they replaced their human camera operators to computer camera operators, or AI camera operators. So the idea was that the camera would recognize where the ball was on the field and continue to track it. Something that they want to do, they called it the Pixelot system, and with ball tracking technology. So because of the COVID and restrictions, more and more people are now watching their sports teams online. And that's what this is for. The season ticket holders were going to be able to watch the game. However, while it did work, one of the
soccer players?
No, a linesman. That's what I was looking for.
Okay.
The linesman. So he's the guy that runs up and down the edge of the field to make sure that nobody goes offside. Well, his bald head apparently was close enough and more interesting to this AI camera, and that it kept, if it lost any track of the ball, it would just immediately focus on him like a lover trying to make eye contact with him. People were just complaining like crazy that they saw more of the linesman than they did of the actual game. And there's even a funny YouTube video where they did all the cuts and showed that it just kept coming back to him, kept coming back.
Wow.
So obviously this AI needs a little more training, or they need a hat or something for this poor linesman.
Well, this is just, when something is new, there'll always be things to figure out, and this is another one of those cases. Reminds me of when they, I think it was Fox Sports, put they had certain pucks in the U.S. so they could track the puck, for people who watch TV, and they can keep up with the play, but we don't see that very often. But I do remember that happening. Okay, thank you. Now let's talk about tech support scammer who calls cyber police squad.
Yeah, this is a report off of the Australian Police Cyber Crimes Squad page. So these are the police that are tasked with investigating cyber crime. Well, one of these tech support scammers dialing numbers at random called this particular cyber crime squad's number. Hey, your computer is infected and sending off information. The typical thing. Please download this software and we'll fix it for you.
Right.
Well, so they had a sandbox system that they allowed the scammers to have access to briefly. And it says that they were told to try and download various different software, some of it legitimate software, some of it not so legitimate. But that's the last person you want to call when you're trying to scam somebody is the actual police department involved in investigating your type of crime.
Well, actually, that reminds me. I remember seeing on YouTube. There's a video where a scammer was speaking to the chief of police down in the U.S. and this lady, she went. The chief of police, she went through and just played dumb and followed along with it. And this, they, asked lots of questions and moved it up and she moved it up to the guy's supervisor and then their supervisor, and they were trying to convince her that there was an arrest warrant out for her, and that the police were on their way. She's like, well, thanks, but I'm not sure that I'm going to arrest myself, but thanks for coming out. And that probably didn't end so well for them. It's kind of funny to watch how there are lots of videos out there where people will just play along to see where they go, just to kind of bring to light what these scams are all about. And it's just crazy that these exist, but the fact that they're still happening must mean that they're working with some people. So just be aware out there when you get these scams, for sure. All right, thanks, Sean. So what we've talked about is the Cadillac Fairview Mall corporation that is been collecting biometric information without people's knowledge, and they're under investigation. The AI camera with the soccer in Scotland that was following a linesman ball head instead of a soccer ball. And finally, the tech support scammer calls the cyber police squad in Australia. And I'm sure that didn't go over so well. Anything else you want to add there, Sean?
In looking through all of the articles that we get, there was a huge list of ransomware attacks that were revealed here over the last while. I see at top of the list, half a dozen different ones. Vermont National Guard, Brazilian courts, Mattel, Campari Group, some prison operator in the US, and Capcom are all disclosing cyber attacks or ransomware attacks. Wow. It's happening more and more often.
Yep. Just keep your head up, everyone. Great, thank you. And as always, if you're watching this on YouTube, especially, we post links to the articles. So if you want to learn more about all the things that Sean brings up each week, feel free to click those. And we also post lots of great articles to optricsinsider.com. So worth checking those out. If you enjoyed today's video, please like, share, and subscribe, and leave comments. We'd love to see those. So thanks for your time, Sean. Have a great week, everyone. Take care.
Bye.